I am going to do a very brief introduction of you, and we're going to get straight into some questions, okay?
Of course.
Yeah. So this is going to sound familiar to the audience because you and Dylan are both very qualified and have served on lots of things. So Yee Leng Xiong is a public servant, having served on numerous boards and committees, also appointed to some of them by the governor, and as an elected official. And you are currently the executive director of the Hmong American Center. So a lot of good experience here. Again, we were very lucky to have two good candidates. I gave them at the top of the hour a little rundown of the history of this position, and how little by little it was chipped away. And then they tried to eliminate the whole thing, and Sarah Godlewski saved it. And now here we are. We have a chance again to have a treasurer who's really committed to using this office for the people of Wisconsin. So I'm going to start asking you some questions here. How would you use the office to maintain or improve public lands for use by people with disabilities, as well as those who are unencumbered by physical limitations?
Great question, Kristen. And I want to start off by saying that I was the chair of the transportation coordinating committee
Oh,
for Marathon County, right? And we had some funds that were meant to be used for transportation specifically, but we were able to find out that we can use some of those funds to ensure equal access for individuals with disabilities. So we had a large group of community members that reached out to us expressing about wanting to have access to the kayak launch, right, making it more handicap accessible, right? So we ended up providing funding to ensure that they would be able to have a kayak launch that were accessible to individuals with disability, and we were able to do that. We were able to also purchase additional buses that were accessible for individuals with wheelchairs, with our seniors and more. The state treasurer position oversees several funding, such as the trust fund loan program and also these common school trust fund, right? These are
mhm.
programs that we can use where we can ensure that there's a priority on ensuring that there's equal access for individuals with disabilities. But we also have to be very honest. Disability doesn't mean just physical disability. There's other disabilities as well too that we want to make sure that they have access for as well too.
Dylan, I need to finish with you later. I'm sorry.
No
Can
worries.
you
Hi, Yee.
can you
Good to see
stick
you, my
around for
friend.
20 minutes?
Sorry.
Okay, mute yourself. Thank you. That is totally my fault. I take blame.
No
Okay.
worries.
So we talked about before you got on about how the unclaimed property is actually managed elsewhere, but the treasurer is supposed to promote the fact that it exists and to try to connect people with their lost property. So, how would you do that in an efficient manner? What are your ideas for promoting that?
Great question, Kristen. And I'm going to always refer back to my experience first, and then I'm going to talk about how I'm going to be able to do it, right? So when I was the executive director, the former executive director of the Hmong American Center, well, during the whole 2021 with the COVID-19 vaccine outreach, we weren't responsible for vaccinating individuals, right? We worked with the health department, with Walgreens and many other partners to vaccinate individuals. But one of the things we did was focus on outreach. So we were going to farms to get to folks from the rural areas to come out and get vaccinated. We were at Hmong community events, letting them know that this vaccine exists. We were at the Hispanic restaurants as well too, to letting them know that this exists. It's all about intentions. It's all about going to communities that are oftentimes forgotten about and letting them know that this is available. As state treasurer, I'm intending on doing that. One, I'm going to be doing regular address, letting people know that this fund exists, that they should be applying for it. Go into areas that are often forgotten about, such as the Hispanic, the Black community, and also the Hmong and Asian American community. But the simplest way that I also think is working with our tax preparers, right? When they are preparing taxes for residents in Wisconsin here, just having them look that up right away and registering them and looking them up and giving them that fund right away because they have all the information that they need. I know this because when I was running the volunteer income tax assistance program at the Hmong American Center, I was requiring our volunteers to do that as well, to also look up individuals right away when they were coming there to do their personal taxes as well. We just need to be intentional and work through
That's
grassroots.
a really good idea. Yeah,
Mhm.
You're already there trying to hopefully get a refund.
Exactly, right?
So we talked briefly, I said before any candidate came on, about the Common School Fund, which is one of the things that this position helps do. Describe what that is and what the state treasurer does, what role you play in managing it.
Yeah, so the state treasurer, this is one of the oldest funds that exist in the state of Wisconsin, right? It's basic
Hmm.
pros assets that basically is there that's meant to go back towards our public schools and our libraries, right? As the state treasurer, you are one of three individuals, the attorney general and also the secretary of state, where you are able to allocate these fundings to go help schools and public libraries with certain projects, right? I know that John Muir in the Wausau area was able to receive funding, but I think most importantly, though, one of the concerns I've heard when I'm going out and talking to folks in the Northwoods, in the rural area, is that the process is very red tape, right? It's very cumbersome, and people oftentimes don't apply for it because they don't have the capacity to do it. So we need to make sure that the process is more efficient, more effective, so that way smaller school districts can apply for this. Because when they're applying for it, they're going to utilize resources. They are the school districts that needs it as well, and making sure that they have equal access to it is one of my crucial goals in doing this, making it just more efficient, more effective, so that it's worth everybody's time as well.
As someone who has filled out a lot of grant applications, let me tell you that making it easier is very nice.
I have applied for a
Um,
lot of grants too, Kristen, so
yeah,
I
oh, that's true. That's true.
know.
Um, what is your vision for how this office can help Wisconsinites thrive? What creative programs could you make um, under the auspices of the treasurer's office?
Great question, right? So one of the things I want to start off by saying is that from my years of experience and being involved with the community, it is not the powers that are written on paper or in the Constitution or bylaws that gives you the most influence, right? It's your ability to build relationships, work with people, and making them feel like they're part of the solutions, right? So when I was the executive director of the Hmong American Center in Wausau, I wasn't very, very powerful, right? I didn't have that influence to be going anywhere. But one of the things that we're doing was working with partners to build relationships and building funds. Because of that relationship, we were able to establish over $100,000 worth of scholarships. We were able to provide funding for businesses and open up several hundreds of businesses in an area. We were able to distribute over 50,000 pounds of rice. We were able to distribute over 250,000 meals to community members in the central Wisconsin area. So just basically the relationships that you have, you can make that happen as well. And as the state treasurer, you have a huge state platform that you can use
Mm.
to work with groups like WisCaps, to work with groups like the other organizations across the state of Wisconsin here to address healthcare issues, to address the childcare crisis, to address housing as well. I mean, one of the things I was very proud of in the Wausau Marathon County area was the fact that I was able to help a group of individuals lead an effort where we were able to allocate over $200,000 to childcare, where they were able to open up another additional 240 slots for childcare as well too. So it's all about working with partners and being able to leverage these relationships to ensure that you can open up those opportunities. My goal is to work on attracting and retaining talent, opening up business, addressing the affordability crisis by tackling the healthcare crisis, addressing the childcare crisis, and making of how buying houses a lot more affordable as well. Because we need to build wealth, we need to build and empower folks so that they can experience that American dream.
So years ago, there was a candidate, 2015, we learned tonight. There was a candidate for office for the state treasurer's office who actually did win on the platform of eliminating the office. What are your plans which obviously did not happen? What are your plans to change or strengthen the duties of the treasurer's office?
Look, so when I became the executive director of the Hmong American Center, right there, when it was on the verge of closure, $5,000 in this account, $50,000 in debt, many other partners were asking me, what's the point of the Hmong American Center? Why do we need such an organization anymore, right? It's all about rebranding. You have to let people know what this office can do. And that's part of the problem because people don't know what exactly the roles of this power or this position is. And when they don't pay attention, when they don't know what it is, they stop paying attention. And that's when people think that you can get rid of this position. And then when you get rid of this position, you realize how much of a need it is. So my goal is to make sure that we're reforming this office completely and letting people know you see the return of investment, saving people money and letting them feel the impact, right? By working with partners across the state to address the affordability crisis, returning people's money back to them through the unclaimed money funds, property funds, and also working to ensure that the trust fund loan program, the school trust fund, are investing in their communities, right? And making and being public about it. But at the same time, if you don't show up, people forget about you, right? So being
Mm,
into communities and letting them know. And this position, its most important role is to be the checks and balance and that independent fiscal watchdog. And as I always said to folks all across the state here, I'm a nonprofit executive. I know how to write reports so that people understand the return on investments. I'm going to put a dashboard on our website that showcases everyone where their taxpayer is going per county. And also, I'm going to make sure that people understand where their elected officials are getting their, where their wealth is as well, letting people know how much per
mm.
diem they're collecting as well, because there is no mechanism in place right now that showcases or holds them accountable as well. So I want to make sure that I'm that fiscal watchdog that holds the state of Wisconsin accountable, so that they know where their taxpayer are going, whether it's going to voucher schools, healthcare, public safety, TIF districts, and so much more as well.
So that you answered this a little bit, but the next question is, how will you educate the public about this race? Meaning first the primary and then the general, so that they take this seriously.
Great question, right? So it's about showing up again. One of the things I love to do is going to groups, whether it's 7 people or 100 people, and just talking about this position. But in addition, one thing I've also realized is that when I'm going on podcasts and having conversations with folks, there's a lot of questions. I intend on doing the same thing with the Hispanic community, with the Hmong community, with the Latin community, the Black community as well, letting them know of this available resource. And I love knocking on doors. I love canvassing. I love having small conversations. I intend on being visible in person, but also virtually and on social media and through videos as well. And I intend on doing it whether it's a monthly basis or a weekly basis, a weekly address, a monthly address, or a quarterly address, so people understands that the state treasurer is actually doing things. And I intend on doing it not just in the English language, but in multiple languages, so that
Mm.
people are aware of the what of the responsibility of this office as well.
Let's see, do we have, yes, I have time. Municipalities have decided to carve out and report the amount of tax dollars going to voucher schools on property tax invoices. This is a question. My first question is that true? And would you support this being done at the state level? I think you kind of already answered that.
I support it. I
Yeah.
think the reason why community members are not aware of how much of the impacts of public schools is because they're not aware. That's just the honest truth. I think if we're able to showcase that we are how much of their money is going to public voucher schools, they're going to be more concerns. There's going to be more concerns coming out.
We have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to ask another question. Do you think that you could use this position to work with the legislature, perhaps the governor, to put some of these duties back, or has that ship sailed?
I definitely think it's a possibility, right? This position is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Wisconsinites has voted to reaffirm the responsibility of this position. My goal is, one of the good things I value the most is the fact that I'm able to work with individuals across the aisles, and that's one of the reasons why I've won 13 times with progressive ideas in a ruby red area in Marathon County that has voted for Republican values for the longest of time, and I've been able to get things done, especially progressive ideas. it's all about I don't want to say selling the message, right? But it's about the message, letting them know that this position is here to stay. You might as well make use of it and be able to deliver and provide checks and balances. It's about building relationships and having conversations with individuals. Even if we don't win a trifecta, we're going to win a Democratic trifecta, but even if we don't win it, I am very full. I have full faith that I would be able to work with Republican legislators to be able to return some of the authorities and be able to get things done in this position as well. I'm not afraid of working with folks across the aisle. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
I assume you have to in your current position.
Yes, and there is a
All
reason
right,
why.
we just have one question left.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that
No, yeah.
I was no worries. I was just gonna say that there is a reason why the Republican, my county board is fairly conservative, and they continue to appoint me to leadership roles and also the finance committee role because they know that I'm a pragmatic person who likes to get things done. So, it's all about delivering results. It's all about being pragmatic, and I have every intention to do that. And I know I can do that as well.
All right, last question. What is your favorite spot in Waukesha County?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I've been there several times now, right? But honestly, the other day when I came to the picnic, right, that
Mm,
happened, I actually returned there a couple of days afterwards just to kind of take a hike, right? Because I needed to kind of just decompress a little bit, and I was just kind of walking along the trails there. And I'm not gonna lie, I just stopped all of a sudden and I looked up. I was like, this place is really beautiful, right? And I was
on Frame Park along the river there? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I was right by the river there, and I just stopped and I was like, "This is a very good place to just kind of walk and just, just think about things as well." And I'm not gonna lie, I had a great time just kind of decompressing there. And those are the places that I value, right? The places where you can go somewhere quiet, just be alone to your thoughts, and be able to just kind of enjoy life a little bit. And honestly, at this point here, that's my favorite place because I had that epiphany moment there, and I've been here to return to it in the near future here as well.
Thank you so much. If you win the primary, will you come back and visit with us for longer?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure and it's an honor.
Have a good night.